Okay, I said I'd get to this. I know this is in America, not the point. It's making the point that I want to make. I know, it's really expensive setup I've got, isn't it? No. It does the job, it works. Why pick something that's not broken? It's about the information. Not the quality of the production, it's the quality of the information that counts.
Well, I want to begin, of course, by recognizing the Epstein survivors who are here today. Virginia Giuffre's family, who traveled here because they believe, as I do, that what happened to Virginia and to all the victims here today and throughout the world must finally lead to change. And all you have to do is look at the faces of these beautiful women and just have total empathy for what they've gone through, admiration for their courage, and anger about what happened to them. So, thank you. Today, we're here to do something simple and long overdue. Today, I'm introducing Virginia's law, legislation to end statute of limitation barriers that have kept survivors of sexual violence from justice far too long, and to create new legal avenues to pursue justice, because justice should not expire. Justice should not expire. And because for survivors,
good point, well made. A 49-year-old man has been found guilty of assault and wounding and sentenced to 12 months prison. This week, the jury in the Burnie Supreme Court found David John Miller guilty of the charges related to an incident at Heybridge in July 2017. Thanks for the extra hair, Lily. My daughter's giving me extra hair, she reckons I'm going bald. In sentencing, Chief Justice Alan Blow said Miller had been drinking when he struck a man named Mr. Rogers in the head with a mallet after he was invited into Mr. Rogers' own workshop. He let you in and closed the roller door. You then pushed him to the chest and tormented him for about 9 minutes, ultimately striking him to the head with a mallet, Justice Blow said. Pause. It was late. I was doing overtime, trying to catch up after having surgeries on my knees and being very sick and having to leave the job. I had got myself cornered into a certain level of economic obligations. Trying to keep up with work. I had a young fellow working for me who also got sick and he had to leave, and I was trying to do the work of 2 men on my own without the second income. David John Miller leased a workshop at the same complex out at Heybridge near the roundabout. The same guy that's got Lube Tech Auto out there now. He'd spent a few weeks trying to get me to accept a $150,000 cash injection into my business, and he wanted say into what happened in my business, that I grew from nothing in my driveway with $4,000 to start with. No, I wouldn't come to the party. My business. I built it. If it sinks on me. I'm not having people that can't paddle the canoe coming along for a free ride just because they got a bit of coin. Where did the coin come from? A second injury payout for the same injury, where he hurt his hip on a mine site in Queensland. Now, we'll go into the reasons here that he gave, and I'll tell you the real reasons. You had bought that mallet with you. You had bought it with you as a weapon. As a result of the assault, Mr. Rogers has continuing psychological issues and has not returned to work. Justice Blow said the assault was Miller's response to at least 2 previous altercations with Mr. Rogers, including Mr. Rogers damaging and poorly repairing Miller's mother's car. Pause. He's a drunk, at the time had no licence, and was drunk as a lord. Came to my workshop, parked in a blind spot just outside my workshop door. I backed my ute out of the door. He never even informed me that he was there in his mother's car. I figured he'd walk there because he was drunk. Like staggering drunk. Bang. He stood there and watched it happen. What are you doing with the car? What? And a dumb place to park it. Right in my blind spot. Accidents happen. I felt bad that I backed into it because that's the sort of person I am. I offered to fix it for nothing. I said, I'll fix it at my own expense, but I can only fit it in where I can fit it in because I'm swamped trying to pay bills with a family to support. Miller has no family to support. I put a dent in the left rear quarter panel. I had to paint the bumper bar, repair the quarter panel, and paint that. He came in drunk on a Sunday demanding that I paint it, and I couldn't get any paint because my paint supplier was closed. Violently demanding that I paint it. I said, look, I'll see what I can do, but I'm not promising nothing. The only paint I can get isn't going to work. I can only get some acrylic paint or some enamel from Autobarn or somewhere. Yeah, I don't use that. I use 2-pack. Cars are painted in 2-pack. You use matching composites, right? Anyone with half a brain knows that. I had spent a lot of time of my own helping this guy with cars that he had bought, didn't know how to fix, couldn't fix properly. Just helping him out. Why? Because that's the sort of guy I am. Nothing special, just hey, if someone's having a go. This is my motto. If you can help someone that's helping themselves, you probably should. If you can't, at least don't do them any harm. So I repaired the car. Nothing wrong with it, fair quality. Painted it. Knew it was going to react, and it reacted. He'd had a dummy spit a few days later, took to his mum's car with said mallet, which was actually an engineer's hammer with a plastic coating over it. What they call a soft face hammer. Ripped the back bumper bar off it, and then came to my workshop and took to me with the same hammer. Blaming me for ripping off his tools out of his shed. Chicken feed super cheap auto tools, I may add, when I've got DeVille Biss spray guns, Worth, King Chrome. I've been running a business for close on 10 years, and he was just a tinkerer. Why would I want his crap? He came to that realisation, false one I may add, because I had a Harley in my workshop that I was helping another guy out who happened to be a bandito, who I since have been told, but I cannot confirm, that it was him who knocked his shed off. Ty Fennick, who used to have a spray painting shop in South Burnie. I've offered the Advocate to correct this story. Won't come to it. That's why what I started this video off with is totally relevant. David Miller was charged with assault and wounding. When he brought his own hammer and tried to kill me with the damn thing, I don't see why he wasn't charged with grievous bodily harm and premeditated attempted murder. I was paid $11,000 payout by Commissioner Donna Adams for an assault that cost me my business, cost me 5 cars, cost us our home. We ended up homeless because of his drunken stupor. But the story reads like I've brought it on myself. I've asked the Advocate to correct it. Note, statute of limitations. Tough titties Dave. They've made me look like I'm a bad panel beater and a bad spray painter, and that wasn't the issue at all. He'd done all the damage himself. I told him what would go wrong, and it went wrong. It's all on him. But our life got ruined. My kids now have a broken home. They live with me because, I guess their mum got used to a certain standard of lifestyle, and it's gone now. So she's gone to someone else who can provide that lifestyle, allegedly. I pleaded, I asked, I even got angry with the editor of Advocate newspaper, Sandy Powell, the journalist, so-called journalist, who wrote this article, and Sean Ford. They went straight to their lawyers just to see whether they owed, to get some advice, and they came back and said, yeah, look, the statute of limitations have passed because the article was written in 2019, and this is the information that they got from Justice Blow, the magistrate. The Advocate never came to court one single time while I was in there. They didn't get my side of the story. They printed this story without my permission, and they wonder why I'm a bit pissy with them. I will never panel beat in this town again. People don't remember me for the show cards that I've done up that win trophies. People don't remember me for any of the good things that I did. People don't remember me for the goodwill that where all the good people donated to the fireys. And I was only the passenger. The passenger. I was like the vessel that come up with an idea and transported it. That the council shut down. That's another story. You can go back, you'll find that. Finished. He noted that Miller is a carer for his 77-year-old mother, who is in poor health, and that the burden of caring for her will fall on Miller's sister while he is in prison. Boo-hoo. His sister was looking after her anyway. He's a drunk. However, Justice Blow said the burden of that care was not so extreme as to warrant a shorter sentence. It counts in your favour in my assessment of your general character that you have been acting as a carer. You have not been to prison before, and you have been active in the Red Cross, he said. Oh, he went with his mum a few times and spun a few sausages on a barbie. Miller has prior convictions for assault in Queensland, like I said, Queensland mine site, for which he received a suspended sentence in 2013 and a fine in 2016. They dragged that one out, didn't they? From the material that I have been given, it appears that those assaults were alcohol-fuelled. One way or another, Justice Blow said, this appears to be the third and most serious occasion when you have had too much to drink and committed an offence of violence as a result. You need to watch yourself in the future. David Miller has been heard at the Beach Hotel here in Burnie running me down by someone I used to work with at Woolworths and was put in his place real quick. He didn't realise he was in the presence of people that actually have got my back in my absence. Thanks for that, Caden. I appreciate that. I didn't so much have a psychological problem as I did an emotional problem, because we lost everything out of it. He tormented me and tormented me and tormented me at my workshop when I was trying to get work done, throwing rocks at me workshop, driving past slow, making sure that I seen him. When he had a 20-metre restraining order. A 20-metre restraining order against me, against him, the police placed. The police lost information. Lost. I don't know how you lose paragraphs out of a statement that they took while I was getting stitches in my head on a tablet. Just bits and pieces here and there that made the statement make no sense. It made it look like I was cuckoo. Which at the time, I was kind of under the influence. I had that much adrenaline running. I was under the influence of nothing other than what the hell just happened. If you're under the influence of anything, or while in trauma and having stitches put in your head, to the best of my knowledge, they cannot be taking a statement from you at the same time. Literally at the same time as they're putting stitches in my head, they're taking a statement from me, asking me questions. All I asked for was for the advocate to correct the story, to get my side of the story. Not interested. I would love for this to go back for a retrial, but I can't. Why? Statute of limitations. No justice was done whatsoever. $11,000 for a family that lost everything. This isn't about me. It's not even really about David John Miller. It's about the system itself. How there is a statute of limitations that protects the system, but there isn't any statute of limitations that protects the people, and there is no recourse for people who have gone through any kind of trauma, any kind of trauma, who are not up to the task of challenging anything until such time as the statute of limitations is clicked over. For some people it takes years before they can face looking for some kind of justice, before they're ready to stand up in a court and give evidence. It was an attempted murder, for crying out loud. It wasn't a punch in the face. You can see I'm no stranger to having a bit of a biffo. It doesn't bother me. But when you hit somebody in the head with an engineer's hammer, with a soft-faced engineer's hammer, one of the big square-headed ones, kind of like a sledgehammer but with a short handle, that splits your head clean open. And then you get tormented and tormented and tormented and tormented. Now, what really fried my bacon, not that I eat pork, is he done 9 out of 11 months, gets out, and he buys my old workshop, what used to be Zin Moto, which is now Lube Tech Auto, and the house next door to it. I lost everything and he gained everything. What did he have to do? A few months prison. Just after that happened, I was given an eviction notice by Emu Bay Real Estate. Dudley was running Emu Bay Real Estate. Dudley, the ex-cop from Melbourne that ran away from the underbelly investigations. As I was kicking up a stink about things that were going on out there. The two rabbits and the wallaby that was mates that used to be running around in the car park every morning that weren't afraid of me because I'd been there for that long. And I used to give them bits of apple. The possum that I built a little house for, ringtail possum that had a joey. They all just turned up dead. Sick dead. The wallaby, just one day I rocked up and it was sick and it looked distressed. It didn't hop away or anything, it just looked at me like it had been poisoned. I got very, very sick, like I had been poisoned. I had the EPA out there, I had the council out there, I had Taswater out there. Oh, nothing to see here, but Taswater ended up doing a lot of work out there. Every day, sometimes a couple of times a day, taking water samples from out of the drains and the stormwater and the burdening easement that ran past my workshop into the stormwater on EPA land right next door to me. I would love to know the true story. I think I know the true story. But these guys ain't going to print it. So at the end of the day, there is no justice. It's just us. It's just us. If you rock the boat, or if you find any type of something's not right here within the system, within the private little property deals that go on between the masons and the real estate agents and the council, they will send the blue line after you. And the Red Cross, apparently.